I just mean like the
Sure thing.
start. Yeah.
So, hey everyone, my name
It
is
is
Tip
whatever,
Daddy.
it is
I am
half
going
a
to be your
second,
commentator
but,
for
you know.
this Lockout Bingo. I'm a Yooka runner,
Alright, you guys
and
are ready?
the two runners you
Yes.
have in front of you are
Okay, then I would
Hedwig,
say,
who will be purple on the bingo board, and
5,
aljex, who will
4,
be green on the bingo board,
3,
both of some of our
2,
top runners. It's going to be a
1,
fun board today.
go!
I've picked out a good seed. Should have some fun combos and everything, and let's see how they start to handle it.
Hey, what is this board, Tip?
So with Yooka Bingo, if you haven't played Yooka-Laylee before, it is a lot like games like Banjo-Kazooie or Donkey Kong 64. It's a collectathon game made by Playtonic.
This has a lot of things
the
on
game
it.
is very
Oh my
nice
God.
in the fact that we have sequence breaks just about everywhere in the game and can almost enter
Hold up.
any
Did he even put in
level
the seed?
first.
Oh no.
One thing I just want to say actually really
It's
quick.
fine, just play.
It looks like we're on a different board. Is it possible to restart? Someone didn't pick up the right board. Hosts, would that be okay?
Yeah. Oh
Yeah.
yes, absolutely.
Okay,
If there is a problem,
Oh,
we
I
can.
mean,
Yep. Nope.
Did
It
you
just
do the
didn't
same
take the
thing I
right.
did?
It didn't take the right seed. So
Or-
if someone wants to tell the two guys to quickly restart, that would help.
Alright,
Apologize
so-
for that, everyone.
There seem to be some technical difficulties in here.
This is a great start, but that means we'll get to see the hype of the beginning of a run twice.
Yes, imagine being that.
There seems to
There.
be...
Now it should.
Indeed. So
kind
this
of
run will be using, a seeded board. The runners do not
Yeah,
know the
with
board,
the
of
audio
course.
as well, though.
With this is
Correct.
just to make sure we
Yeah.
have a board that's working
Because
out
either I
well in our
forgot-
favor.
Either I didn't
That
get
might-
the correct
When I revealed a
stream
random
off,
board, it ended up having
or
there's some
aljex
goals which are
audio.
when you're
or
playing in
audio is
Lockout versus normal bingos, things only one person can mark any given goal. In case you don't know, and certain goals that we have defined are just not Lockout friendly. Like if both runners could
That
choose
real-
not to do them, and it's kind of an either you
Quick.
like. You can officially
No.
lock yourself out of the goal, not to make a
Ah,
pun
this
in
is a great-
Lockout, but you can lock yourself completely out of the goal and never get it in the run, and we just don't want to have a situation where both runners do that. But looking at the board now, it appears to be the correct seed. If the runners want to just get back to the main page. they'll
Yeah,
do it.
yeah.
About some of the goals that we have here that
speaking
might
of, what
sound
is-
a little
what
bit
is
unusual.
The problem with the seed.
Yeah,
just
sure.
while we're waiting.
So,
Sure thing. So looking at this, like some of the
Yeah,
I guess,
we noticed there
goals
was
for me
one
that
of those.
stick out, like you see stuff like 3
those
pages
goals
from
that isn't
unique
Lockout friendly.
transformations. You see freezing
Okay.
room, intended way.
So
Those
the
I'll
seed is
explain those
correct
two
now?
right away. The freezing room, intended way. There's a room in Glitter Glaze Glacier where everything inside the room is cold and it hurts you when you're in the room. But we found very, very, very early on, almost day one of the game, that you could use a different move that you unlock in another world and go around the backside and just kind of melt an ice cube instead of completing probably a 2 or 3 minute challenge, and it saves about a minute and a half. So in that bingo square, they'll have to do that whole entire
okay
room
right now.
as intended. And then another thing, as I mentioned
give me
before,
a minute.
Yooka-Laylee is a game that's very similar to Banjo-Kazooie in many facets. One of those being that there are transformations for the two main characters in all of the 5 main worlds. So this 3 pages from unique transformations.
Okay.
There are a couple
we're gonna
worlds
be
where you
good
can
to
get
go
multiple
soon.
pages within a transformation. We just require you to transform, or rather collect 3 different transformation pages, because there are some you can get even when you're not transformed. And hopefully we see Hedwig and Aljex do cool tricks like that. Yeah, I guess, are there any other like squares that stick out to you guys that would you like to
Let me
hear about?
try- That is
Too sure about the squares initially, but like, do you think there are going to be some different like strategies they're going
with the
for
aljex.
this
Yeah,
run? So do you reckon like
definitely.
one
Let
person
me
might be
listen to
going
this
for one thing and one
thing.
person might go for the other?
I
Like,
tapped
what
out for like
potential
half a
routes do you
second.
think someone
It
might
might
be
be
off.
they go
Should be on.
through?
Yeah, so what's
Yeah.
really nice about this board and how I set it up is that it puts a lot of, it makes it as general as possible, and also if there is I'll call it
I
a
don't get
world
this. Why is
specific
this not working?
goal instead of a kind of a general goal. For instance, a general goal is more just
No,
three
the
green Ghost Riders,
it's,
which
it's
again
it's
to
picking up
compare
the
to
wrong sound.
Banjo-Kazooie are
Apparently,
like
it's picking up,
Jinjos. You find one of those in every single
and
world.
apparently it's picking up
The the specific world goals are kind of
Okay,
spread out
yep.
across all 5 instead of kind
That's a
of
problem
putting
because hedweg has
one world too high over another. So I could see one of the two of them may opt for going into Moody Maze Marsh. There's a couple things on here like the Moody Maze Health Extender, the Moody Ghost Riders, Clara. You can see help Clara 2 times. A Clara Pagey is in
think that
Moody
might
Maze.
be for the best.
There's transformation
right
pages.
now.
Unlock Moody Marsh is on here as
Sorry.
well. So there's 3 different goals that all correspond to Moody Maze. But at the same time, Moody Maze doesn't really give you a lot of helpful speedrunning tricks. So it's a trade-off there versus maybe the other runner will opt towards trying to do a lot of things in Casino, for instance, which is the 4th
Okay,
world.
Interesting to see if they
I'm
both
gonna
try to go
try
for the same thing, and
I'm
of
gonna
course,
try to bring
as
it
soon
to
as
the
one of
chat.
them marks the other, they're going to
so
know,
yeah,
crap,
sorry
Oh,
well, now I
exactly.
have to
right now.
redivert to everything else.
Mm-hmm. And really fun. Quiz 1 is a square on this
Yeah,
board,
I'm gonna
and
cut it
the
on
quizzes,
that. Gonna
if
cut it
you
on
are almost completely optional in Bingo. So it'll be fun to see if one of them takes the bait and detours themselves for about 2 minutes.
Yeah. All right.
So let's just check how we're
The
getting
true
on.
knowledge
It's
test.
it seems like both runners are ready, at least to do things. Yeah, they're getting Floha, our tech guy, is giving a little countdown, so hopefully we should be getting back up soon.
Great.
Yes, indeed.
Alrighty.
And looks like the countdown is done. So good luck to the runners.
Good luck, Aljex and Hedwig.
I'll just relax a second and let you commentate for a bit, see what they actually
Sure
go
thing.
about doing.
Yeah, so looking at the board, some of the early goals available here are Cardos karting. There's a character called Rextro who exists in all 5 of the worlds, and he has a little mini game. That mini game it will kind of take like a 2 or so minute detour. So we've frequently thought Cardos karting might be a bad lockout goal, but we'll see if one of them opts to go for it. Additionally, in that first world, we've got Defeat the Great Rampo. There's a boss in each of our 5 worlds, and Rampo is the boss of the first world. We'll see if one of them goes for that as well. You can also see Learn All Tribal Stack moves. That'll require the runners to collect 90 quills total before they go and speak to everyone's favorite trouser snake, Trouser. Yeah, there's really it'll just be interesting to see how they start to set up their runs. Another interesting definition I should give you. You can see that sub area is on here as the name of one of the goals. Sub area pages, just to explain that to folks, is any area that's named outside of like the specific world that you're in. For instance, the world, quote unquote, that they are currently in is called Ivory Towers. So they'll be going into another room shortly, which is titled the Waterworks. And if they pick up any pages in that area, that would be considered a sub area. So we'll see which pages the 2 runners prioritize. Hedwig picking up the first pagey there. Aljex just a couple seconds behind, so it's still definitely a close race. Aljex even opting to watch the pagey cutscene. We'll see if this plays out for him.
Huge benefit to watching the cutscene?
We have a load remover, at least in normal speedruns, so it's more beneficial to save and quit just for time and everything. But it looks like even from a real-time perspective, Aljex just lost time, which is unfortunate. a really fun goal that you guys won't actually get to see in this board, but exists in, it's one of the squares that is very bad for Lockout, we believe, but it's great for normal bingos. It's called Open Moody Maze First. Moody Maze Marsh, if you've played the game, is the third Grand Tome, and is openable with about 7 pages. Which, if you open Moody Maze first, you can collect a total of 8 pages at the start of the game without any moves. So it would require you to literally get everything you possibly can, and then go to a world where, as I mentioned before, Moody Maze doesn't really have a lot that's great for the speed run. So it's a risk reward system, but in a Lockout situation, it just takes way too long that any runner who goes for it is just pretty much already lost. So Hedwig's now in the waterworks. We'll see if he picks up any pages. I doubt he will yet, but he's also about to go into the archive where he will pick up his first sub-area pages of the total of 10. A nice little trick here, you can just roll against a wall and then you just pass right through instead of having to do a fun little puzzle. And then Aljex about to pick up the same thing. Aljex gets to show you off a little more how inconsistent it can be, but gets through it all the same. Yep, quills are indeed the feathers. And you'll see them collecting those. Quills are mostly available only in worlds, and they're used to purchase moves from Trouser, but Trouser's gracious when he's in the hub and gives us moves for free. So Hedwig's just here going to clean up some of this last hub, and then I'll be interested to see if he'll try and enter Glitter Glaze first, or if he'll enter Tribal Stack first. Looking at the board, my guess is he'll enter Tribal Stack first. There's not too many. I did mention the Freezing Room Intended Way goal, but that I bet that will be more of a cleanup goal for these two, rather than an early goal, just because I bet they won't want to risk losing time to it. But I could be wrong, we'll have to see. Moment of truth here, Hedwig gets the PG on top of Glitter Glaze, and he's opting to go for Tribal Stack. We'll see if Aljex follows suit, or if he chooses to switch up. Hedwig making it over the Windy Bridge there. It can be a scary time. And Aljex is going to go into Glitter Glaze, so we have our first divergence. So Aljex is actually even going to get himself into a tome before Hedwig does. So interestingly, Aljex may actually be quote-unquote ahead now. So, we'll have to see as they get more goals. So Aljex, now you're going to see more of quill collecting in each world. As I mentioned, there are quills in all of the worlds. There are 200 per world, so they are abundant, and there are many to pick from. My guess is Aljex is trying to pick up around 40 of the quills so that he can pick up the Freezing Room Intended Way, but we'll see if that is correct. Another one of the goals that's coming up here soon for them is learning 8 Trouser moves. Each of them so far has learned 3 moves. The tail twirl right at the beginning of the game, the roll move also right at the beginning of the game, and then the glide move after they did their first sequence break into the waterworks. So Hedwig here is doing the Nimble race, which Nimble just you race around the entirety of Tribal Stack. It's a great way to pick up a lot of quills. My guess is Hedwig is eyeing that learn all Tribal Stack moves goal, so he's gonna do the race so he can pick up some extra quills easily. And good movement from both of them so far. Nothing no big mistakes really. The main thing that put aljex behind was missing a trick. Honestly, missing 2 tricks once. That just shows how close these races can be. Aljex gonna get the one of the 2 pages that's very easy here in Glitter Glaze. Right at the start, just have to stand on those 4 platforms, and Hedwig will pick up that nimble pagey. And he's going to immediately return to hub. My guess is he'll expand Tribal Stack Tropics, just so that he can go take on the Great Rampo right away. Aljex making his way back from that pagey. Looks like aljex is going, I think he's going for the glitter Cardos right now. One of the things that these guys are probably doing, you'll notice 2 of the squares on the board are 15 quills in a world and 30 quills in 4 worlds. So 15 quills in 5 worlds, I should say. So that will require them to enter all five tomes. But for the 30 quills in 4 worlds, they'll be able to skip 1. So far, it looks like both aljex and hedwig have gotten 15 in their respective tomes, and for sure, aljex has picked up 30 within Glitter Glaze. I haven't looked at what hedwig's quill count is, but looks like he's over 30 in Tribal Stack as well. Aljex also picking up his first green Ghost Rider right there. That'll put him maybe a small bit ahead of hedwig. Hedwig now going up Rampo's Temple. Looks like that'll be the first goal he goes for. An unfortunate time loss there for aljex as he falls into the pit. I did mention that Windy Bridge is very, very difficult. Just one wrong bit of movement and you can fall straight into the pit.
Are there any particular quills that are like easier to get pick up in certain areas? So you might want to get the 30 in that one particular area rather than another. It seems like they're quite frequent.
Yeah, they're definitely frequent and kind of found all over. A lot of the times you'll find quills in just kind of like groups of 3 in places. That seems to be what the developers liked most. But that's where that nimble race that hedwig opted to do right away at the beginning of the run helped him a lot in terms of his early quill gathering. It's a little bit of a slower pagey, but the quill collection that you do during it makes it worth it. Aljex now heading into Tribal Stack Tropics. We'll see what he does here. I'm guessing they're both confused as to what the other one is doing, since neither one has marked a goal. But hedwig has just one more time up this ramp, and then he'll have destroyed the Great Rampo.
Yeah, that's the thing about Lockout. Until they can see what goals have been completed, it's really hard for them to predict what the other is going to do.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely it is. There's aljex picking up his second green Ghost Rider, and hedwig marking his first goal. Aljex passing 15 quills in his second world at this point. One thing you can see here, aljex doing one of the I guess little things that you have to deal with speedrunning this speedrunning Yooka-Laylee is energy management. You can see there's a little green bar underneath the Yooka and Laylee pictures for both hedwig and aljex. That is basically just a meter of how much you can use specific moves. There are a couple of them that will require the usage of that bar. Sometimes you have to, based on how the runners will go about getting through the world, they'll have to deal with energy management. They can collect butterflies along the way sometimes to refill that meter. but sometimes butterflies aren't really in the best place, and you have to kind of figure out how to platform without the use of that, without the roll move or any other move that uses energy for that matter. So here's Aljex. Looks like he is actually going to be trying to snag all 3 tribal stack moves first, and I bet you he'll get that. Hedwig appears to be going for the Planker Pagey, which is we're gonna see a cool instance of lag jumps. You've probably seen them before, but this game has is funly coded in that when you switch between the fast and fastest video settings, the game as we understand it reloads some assets, and therefore it just kind of lags the game enough to give us some extra height in places when we jump, give us some extra speed on things, and the game doesn't necessarily respond, if that makes sense. So like certain gates will close when you get close to them, but if we lag through them, we can just get by them before they'll close on top of us. And Aljex did pick up Learn All Tribal Stack moves. Good for him for getting a move or a square on the board. That also puts Aljex at 6 total trouser moves. So he's only 2 away from picking up the 8 trouser moves goal. Looks like Hedwig picked up his first green Ghost Rider, and then he is opting to go for Clara here. That'll be the first of his 2 Clara pages to get. And then we'll see if another goal that still looms in this world, I don't know if one of the 2 of them will go for it, is Cardos Carding. Cardos Carding, I think, as I mentioned, it's a Rextro Pagey, and it does take a detour of like a couple minutes, but if the other one isn't willing to go for it, they can definitely pick it up. Looks like Aljex decides he is done in Tribal Stack, so he appears he will not be going for the Clara goal. And we'll just forfeit that square over to Hedwig. My guess is Aljex will now be making his way towards Capital Casino. Casino is kind of like when you get into Casino, it's kind of the go point of the run, is what I would say. The game works. The progression of this game works rather in a sense that when you pick up 1 pagey in each world, Trouser will move around in the hub world. So when you get 1 pagey in Tribal Stack, certain additional pages show up in the hub world, or in this first hub. When you finish, or when you collect a single pagey in Glitter Glaze, he shows up in the archive and teaches you a new move. When you complete 1 in Moody Maze, he moves again, that kind of a thing. So specifically, the move that you have access to after you get 1 Casino pagey is Flight, and Flight is just kind of a move that just absolutely breaks the game. In Banjo-Kazooie, if I'm to keep on comparing the 2, you have flight pads and you had feathers. The nice thing about this game being you don't have multiple collectibles to use your moves, but then also there are no flight pads. You can just go ahead and initiate flight wherever and whenever you want. And the only limitation for how long you can fly is how much energy you have. So these 2 runners will kind of can cheese a lot of intended pagey strats by just flying into the objective instead. This looks like Aljex, he went and got the Shipwreck Creek pages. Looks like he may have actually had to close his game and restart it. Hopefully that doesn't lose him too much time here. Hedwig, we'll see if Hedwig also elects to go into Shipwreck Creek or not. Looks like he will not. And so Hedwig heading back into the archive. He'll probably pick up a couple more pages in here now that he's got a few additional moves. Hedwig trying to make use of water jumping. You can get like frame perfect jumps to kind of jump on top of the water surface, which, as you can see there, allowed Hedwig to get just enough height to get up onto that little ledge and then up to this platform. Shout outs to Grant Kirkhope here. This pagey's name is Crazy Kirkhope. We love your music. We love what you did for this game. And Grant Kirkhope rocks. So Hedwig picking up Crazy Kirkhope. It's not the last we've heard of Crazy Kirkhope. In fact, we'll hear from him right again now that Aljex is on it. And looks like after Aljex picks up this, he'll have picked up his 10th hub pagey. Looks like Hedwig is actually just a little bit behind that. Looks like he may even elect to going to Shipwreck Creek now to try and snag that 10 hub pages first, but looks like Aljex was able to finish that off. Good for him. Aljex also now going to be learning the Buddy Bubble move. This move allows us to basically use a fart bubble to stand on the floor of when you're in any water. And actually, it's a move that Hedwig, when he goes into the archive, he will not have access to it. I mentioned Trouser only teaches you that move if you have learned or if you have collected at least one pagey in Glitter Glaze. So actually Aljex had a little bit of an advantage there from a moves perspective. So I believe Hedwig's at 5 moves and Aljex is now at 7. The trick Aljex is currently attempting is the gate skip is what it's called. It's probably the most notorious trick in our run, just because for the longest time we didn't have a way to skip. As you can see on the board, there's quiz 1. We couldn't skip quiz 2, which would give us access to the hub where Capital Casino and Galleon Galaxy are. But we found out that using similar lag tricks of swapping between fastest and fast, you can gain just enough speed to there's a very, very, very tiny hole in the environment that the developers forgot to patch, and the lag trick gives just enough speed. It's funny, there's an inside joke within the community that if you try this trick when coming from the archive, Aljex and I call the trick cursed. That's kind of why Aljex is struggling a little bit here. Hedwig will probably make him look like a fool when he comes back because he never has any problems with it for whatever reason. But Hedwig now heading into Glitter Glaze Glacier. We'll see what he goes for in here. But my guess is he's going to come talk to Trouser and learn the move he needs for that freezing room. So he'll pick up Slurp State is the name of it. Yep. That will be Hedwig's 6th move. Now we will see Hedwig will roll up this hill behind him, and that's where the entrance to the freezing room is. Now that he's learned that move, he's able to eat the coals on the fire, which will allow him to basically keep warm inside the freezing room. So there he picks it up, and then he's just gonna slowly work his way through the freezing room. You can see it's very icy here, and if you fall off at all, then you're stuck in the water, and you have to make your way all the way back around again. So it takes careful platforming. Aljex did finally make his way through the gate skip there. Let's get him some hype. You can see some fun out-of-bound movement here. And then he will bring himself back in bounds on the other side of the gate and open it up. There you go. There's Hedwig doing the freezing room intended way. He'll just have to collect the pagey and can mark that goal off. Hedwig almost certainly now will also go collect the green Ghost Rider and Glitter Glaze, and he's also electing to help Clara for the second time here by breaking all 5 of these igloos. Very reminiscent of the huts in Mumbo's Mountain. Aljex now making his way over to Capital Casino. He's probably going to take a quick pit stop in the Novel Hovel. This will get him yet another sub-area pagey. And Hedwig there picking up, will be able to pick up the second of 2 Clara pages. And Hedwig also at least 15 and 30 quills in his second world. So this is definitely still anyone's game, if you ask me. Aljex is going to be able to pick up quite a few goals by coming into Casino here quite a bit sooner than Hedwig is. Hedwig, since he elected to do the Great Rambo and some of the other Clara tasks, he's losing a little bit of time in terms of when he'll be able to access Casino. Hopefully it doesn't lose him too much in the scheme of things. Looks like Hedwig electing to check his totals quick, making sure he had at least 30 quills in the world, and he did. Aljex now, you may have seen him go past the tome there. He's going to try and make his way around this gate by doing some fun platforming. He's going to be going over to the other side of the gate because Trouser is waiting there to teach us a move called Camo Cloak, which will... Ooh, very tough loss there for Aljex. That's going to be a pretty big time loss for falling into the bottomless pit. Hedwig there, like I predicted, making Aljex look like a fool on his gate skip. Gets it first try. And so actually that death by Aljex is gonna even the 2 of them up a lot more. I think the time that Hedwig may have lost could be at least made up somewhat here through that death. Aljex taking it very carefully this time to make sure he doesn't die. And then he'll talk to Trouser. This is going to be his 8th move, so he'll be able to mark that one off in just a second. And now he can make it past these gates, but he's going to have to wait a little bit because Camo takes energy. You can see he's got hardly any right now, so he's got to wait a couple seconds until that naturally fills back up. And then Aljex will slowly make his way over to Casino. Within Casino here now, the goals that will be available are, looking quickly, Aljex will end up picking up his 3rd Ghost Rider in here. Inept is the boss of this world and comes immediately after the Casino Cardos. So those 2 goals are going to be very, I would guess, highly contested and hotly contested right away in the beginning of this Casino thing. Turns out it's only going to be less than 30 seconds difference of when the 2 of them entered Casino, so we'll have to see what the 2 of them elect to do. If I know Aljex, he will almost certainly head straight for the Casino Cardos. Maybe just briefly stopping by the green Ghost Rider on the way. Aljex, forgetting that he had Camo Cloak and was trying to do the entrance into Casino without Camo Cloak. The developers are cool in that they, as I mentioned, each world has a hub move that you get. Right before Tribe Stack, it's the roll move. Right before Glitter Glaze, it's the glide move. Before Moody Maze, it's Buddy Bubble. And before this move, before this world, it is Cloak, that Camo Cloak. And finally, before Galleon, it's Flight. Each of the worlds requires you to use the move you should have learned. But for Casino, we have a nice way of jumping on top of a plant, and then you just skip over that cloak barrier. Both of these 2 are going to be turning into the first transformation we'll see of this run, which is the helicopter. It allows them to fly just about anywhere with no restrictions on energy, and they'll also be blowing up these blue casino, or these blue casino slot machines, which will each drop tokens. The way you get pages in casino is by exchanging 10 tokens for 1 pagey. Here comes Aljex picking up his 3rd green Ghost Rider of the run. It's going to be his 4th square.
So out of curiosity, looking at the boards, like I see like 400 quills on there, and that sounds like quite a few considering 15 quills in each world and 30 quills in 4 worlds. It's a bit tough. That only gets you up to like 120 at most. Is that going to be one of the latest? What's going to be like the last goals they're going to fight over here?
Yeah, so looking at the board, I would say 400 quills is definitely one of the ending goals. I think 15 quills in 5 worlds is one of the ending goals, and that's just specifically because each world costs pages to get into, and Galleon costs a whopping 12 pages to get inside. So even if they happen to do everything else fast, they're going to need 12 spare pages just to even get into Casino. The Moody Maze Health Extender and the Moody Maze Ghost Riders actually both require expansion of the world. That's not something we've seen yet, but something really cool in Yooka-Laylee is that each of the 5 worlds has an expansion to them. So you'll go into the world the first time, and the world will look one way and have some content, and then you can pay a second price to expand the world, and there will be additional goals and tasks for you to do. So we'll have to end. Both the Moody Maze Ghost Riders and the Moody Maze Health Extender are only available in the expansion of Moody Maze. So between those 2 Moody Maze goals, the 5 worlds, as well as 400 quills, those will definitely be some of the last goals that the 2 go for.
Just looking at something important.
I was just going to say, looks like a costly death for Aljex there. Aljex looks like he either failed the Casino Cardos, or he died midway through it, which is going to allow Hedwig to sneak that Casino Cardos right away from Aljex. Aljex has got to be pretty mad right now.
I was going to say the whole bottom left 3 pages and unique transformations, as we're going to be needing more pages anyway, is that something that becomes more appealing, or is that still going to be awkward to go get in comparison to the other pages?
Yeah, that'll definitely be a little appealing here. The 2 of them have actually both, since they turned into the helicopter, that will help both of them to that goal. The transformation, obviously, in this one is the helicopter, and even though you're still collecting tokens, we just rule the tokens that you can only collect from a helicopter as transformation pages. So, yep, it'll definitely be appealing to them. My guess of the other, since it says unique transformations, my guess of the other transformations that they would go for would be we might see them detour back to Tribal Stack Tropics again to become. You can become a plant and collect a pretty slow pagey, but it works out. And then they may also go to Moody Maze Marsh, where there are a couple pages that you can actually collect a transformation pagey without transforming at all. And hopefully we'll get to see them do that trick. Aljex here slowly making his way through the roulette. He knows he's not going to be able to get inept, so he's just going to try and make up as much ground as he can, while Hedwig is still in the middle of a lengthy boss battle. This will also be the second of 3 bosses for Hedwig, so almost certainly that defeat 3 bosses is going to go over to Hedwig as well, since Aljex is still at 0 bosses. Aljex just doing his best to collect as many quills as he can, probably trying to get himself to 30 so that he can move on to the next world.
Since this is a lockout bingo, and when you get a goal, obviously the other person can't get it, is there much, would they consider delaying their goal to like prevent other people knowing the knowledge of where they are or what they're doing? Or I suppose they might just be so delaying actually marking the actual goal?
Okay. Yeah, it depends. It depends on how hotly contested the goal is. A goal like, for instance, on this board, Cardos carding, for instance, that's something that people probably wouldn't think you'd go for right away. And therefore, I mean, if you happen to do it immediately, then you could pick up, you could probably delay that click of the board. A lot of the clicks really end up having, you want them to be as quick as possible. So it's really just not beneficial to delay things too much, but it could happen. Usually
consideration, I was thinking.
Usually delays happen just because we forget to mark goals. We've had people lose.
Then you kick yourself.
Races.
Yeah. How's another
Sure.
mark goal right there with inept?
Yep. Hedwig
Inept.
finishing that off. And that's his second of 2 bosses, like I mentioned, so he only has 1 other boss to do before he can mark 3 bosses. Aljex, meanwhile, working on these slot machines. You need 1 move to technically unlock those slot machines, but instead we can just run into the slot thing enough, and then it just starts the game anyways. Aljex unfortunately missed the fast strat on that slot the first time, but gets it the second time. So Aljex there with 39 tokens. He's probably going to do 1 more slot machine and then pick up some I guess rogue slots is what I'll call them. Or rogue tokens, which he blew up the blue slots for and didn't collect at the time, but he'll collect those quickly before he goes to exchange his tokens for pages. Aljex just collecting a few more quills, probably just to get himself up to 30. As well as getting himself to 80. 80 quills in this world gives you access to Reptile Rush is the name of the move. It's a move that basically allows you to zip really fast through things. So Aljex is gonna go get that move, and then he'll exchange and likely leave Casino.
You have to collect a lot of quills anyway. I can see that being very appealing.
Yes, exactly, and especially with 400 quills being on here, and with trouser moves being their own goal. I think 10 trouser moves is on here as well, which Aljex is at his 9th. It just makes it makes quill collecting all that more valuable.
Yeah.
So Aljex just sitting through the exchanging of pages, and it looks like then he will go back to the hub. Hedwig actually
I should
opting...
mention.
Yeah,
Sorry. Well, we do have donations that people can do. We're supporting the Fred Hutch Cures Start Here, and Fred Hutch is aiming to help additional labs sequence the virus and share the information, not just for nextstrain.org, but also for all scientists working to address this health crisis. So we're heavily supporting trying to stop the bad things be happening. Got to research to get the research to be done. And there's many things you can donate for, like the Ori and the Blind Forest goal later on today, or naming a character in a Pokemon, or potentially even naming the file name in Legend of Zelda. There's a few goals that we have to go. So in Hollow Knight, if you want to randomize the Path of Pain, if you want that sort of thing, that's just $40. Just donate to it to get that happening. There's many more, but that's all I'll say for now.
All going to a good cause, guys, so donate away. So Hedwig here is opting for a second time through the helicopter. My guess is what he's going for. You can see 6 transformation pages is still a goal on this board. He's probably aiming to pick up as many of the tokens he can from those broken slots as possible. I believe you can get up to around 40 of them from broken slots that we count towards transformation pages. So Hedwig will pick up 4 of the 6 that he needs, assuming that he got all of them. Meanwhile, Aljex now is learning the flight move. That'll be his 10th move, and I'll give him another goal. And like I mentioned, that's almost sort of like a go point in the run. Aljex now has all of the moves that he could need to do things quickly at this point. Looks like he's actually going to go for the Waterfall Pagey. This is not a Pagey you see much in any run, just because it's kind of out of the way, not really near a lot of things. But looks like Aljex is going for it as one of the last hub Pages he needs towards the, I believe 15 hub Pages? Yep, 15 hub Pages is a goal on here. You can see it's a little tricky because of those Pagey letters move around very quickly and don't like to wait for your feelings. So, but Aljex picking it up there. I think he's only 1 or 2 pages away from collecting 15 hub. Meanwhile, now Hedwig has got 60 total tokens, so he'll be able to pick up quite a few. Aljex actually opting to slam down. The other side of this area has, if you fly into the wall, it pushes you straight down, but for some reason that one doesn't. And it looks like Aljex now will make his way over to Moody Maze Marsh, and will be able to pick up that unlock Moody Marsh goal first. Hedwig still appears to be trying to do some cleanup in Casino. My guess is he's going to go for some of these quills in the fountain, as well as maybe a token or two, but looks like he's just trying to get himself to 80 quills so he can also unlock Reptile Rush. There you can see Hedwig's movement in the water is much slower compared to Aljex's. That's just because Hedwig doesn't have the Buddy Bubble move. But there's Aljex unlocking Moody Marsh. Once he gets into the tome, he'll mark that goal. It's a great one to pick up. Aljex is also now going to really quickly pick up some of the other Waterworks pages. There was one behind that camo door, and then there is one more down here in this water. That'll be 5 total sub-area pages for him, so he's getting close to that 10 number that he needs for the goal. Hedwig finally leaving Capital Casino. That'll I guess make Flight show up for him, and there's Aljex picking up his 15th hub pagey. This is definitely still anyone's game. In fact, I would probably start to lean this towards Aljex. He's going to be able to pick up quite a bit, like hopefully quite a bit more than Hedwig is able to, but we will also have to see. This will be where they get their second unique transformation pagey. They can collect up to 4 of the 5 Moody Maze Ghost Riders. Though Aljex will probably get the 4th world with 30 quills in this world. And we'll see if he'll probably pick up a couple more sub-area pages as well.
Alright, we actually did get a few donations in, if you don't mind me saying.
Go for it.
Cedric donated $5, thank you very much, with no comment. And also Anon222 also donated $5 with no comment. Thank you very much for both of you. I hope you have a lovely day. And enjoy the rest of the marathon.
Keep donations coming.
That sounds like a donation train to me. Just get a few more $5 here and there.
Hype train, guys. So Aljex here is fighting the red Ghost Rider. Each of the Ghost Riders, if I am to compare to Banjo-Kazooie again, Jinjos in that game just kind of sat there and you just had to collect them. And so the developers thought, hey, why don't we go ahead and make collecting those a little bit more active instead of just passive. So each of the 5 Ghost Riders has a little bit of a different way of collecting them. The yellow one is still just, he sits there and you have to run into him. The green one kind of tries to run away from you. The red one tries to fight you. And then the blue one kind of stays hidden until you use... Laylee has a sonar move, is what it's called, so Laylee will reveal the blue one. And the green one you need to feed because he's hungry. So aljex there, actually that is enough for that's enough for 30 quills in 4 worlds. Looks like he's checking his totals now. Yep. And aljex picks up 30 quills in 4 worlds. Looks like he was also only at, you could see there is, it looked to be 200 or so total quills, so 400 quills is definitely one of the end game deciding goals if we make it that far. Aljex bringing himself into the pumping plant so he can collect another sub-area goal. Just gotta manipulate a box through some currents here using the buttons. And then just wait for it to hit that last switch. So that's 6th sub-area pagey there. I believe Hedwig is also at 5, maybe 4. I didn't actually see if he did this race or not. Aljex picking up the one more free in the tree there, as we call it. And then it appears Aljex will be electing to do the Thorns pagey. So here will be a very fun, it's a really fun trick. What you'll see here is we're going to use lag tricks to get ourselves underneath the swamp, which will there's a puzzle and like a little sequence that you have to go through, which lowers the swampy water of this spot, and so Aljex can use a lag trick there to get underneath some rocks. Then there's a tiny gap we can fall between, which puts us down here, and then we do what's called a void. I call it a void fly, where you fall off the ledge while starting your fly animation, and then you just fly your way directly into that pagey. Aljex doing a great work of it. So typically, what you have to do is go through a sequence of lowering the swamp water, and then over in a different part of that area, there is the molecule, which molecules are needed to transform from Dr. Puzz. And then, as a fish, you'd be able to swim through those thorns without getting hurt. So, looks like Hedwig missed it the first time. He's going to try and use the backup here, which is to slam on top of it. And he gets it too. Looks like that was Hedwig's 6th transformation pagey. I actually am, as a referee, I may overrule that because I think he only has 5. I think he may have just seen his token count in Casino and thought he got 5 in there, but if it comes down to it, I'll go ahead and say that for him. But for now, we'll see what happens. Aljex is heading back to Tribal Stack Tropics now. Looks like he didn't expand it. I'm interested to see what he's going to try to go for here. Looks like he might be just trying to pick up some quick additional pages that he may have not picked up yet. See what else he... Actually, what I'm guessing Aljex is going here for is 3 unique transformations. As I mentioned, the plant was probably the best 3rd transformation to do. So a quick detour back to Tribal Stack Tropics, and that will give him that. The other thing that I would not be surprised at all if Aljex goes for would be Cardos carding at this point. Well, looks like Hedwig is actually following suit and returning to Tribal Stack and electing to go for Cardos carding right away. So while Aljex will pick up 3 unique transformations, Hedwig will almost certainly pick up Cardos Carding, which at the same time almost kind of relegates 2 Rextropages, that square, to Hedwig as well, because Cardos Carding is a Rextropage. It's just choices there of what the runner prefers to do. As you can see, aljex slowly making his way as a flower and fertilizing all of our flowers. It's kind of funny. The the flowers will talk to us and be like, "Hey, baby, come fertilize me." Nice little British humor, I guess. And there's the 6th flower, which will get him the 3rd unique transformation pagey. Hedwig, on the other hand, electing to slowly work through Cardos Carding. What I will be interested to see is if aljex brings himself down to Cardos Carding and starts the race. It looks like aljex's transformation is slightly bugged and not letting him untransform. There we go. Ooh, so this will be costly for our friend aljex. As you can see, he's trying to get himself up to Rextro as fast as he can, but by the time he gets there, Hedwig will be close to being done with the race already. What'll be interesting to see here is, looks like Hedwig has 1 more lap. I don't actually remember if you can quit out of the race in the middle of it, but if he doesn't, that's going to be a big time loss for aljex as he has to complete the race. And there's Hedwig finishing Cardos Carding. We'll see if aljex in response tries to immediately quit out, or if he'll stick with it. Ooh, okay. Interesting. Hedwig electing not to go back into Cardos, or not into Cardos Carding again, which means aljex could pick up 2 Rextropages if he's feeling that. Otherwise, my guess for what the remaining goals, I would assume aljex will try and go for the 2 Moody Maze goals. Either one of them could, really. We'll have to see, but Hedwig appears to be heading towards Glitterglaze Glacier to... and there aljex does save and quit, like I expected him to. So, Hedwig heading towards Glitterglaze Glacier. The nice thing about the expansion of Glitterglaze is that the entirety of the expansion is considered a sub-area. And so the Glitterglaze expansion just works very well with sub-area goals. We've got, like, I think we have 10, 15, and 20 sub-area pages as goals in here, and the 10 showed up here. So Hedwig electing for Glitterglaze, while I will bet aljex will elect for Moody Maze. So just a little bit of a different route there for the 2 of them. We'll see if aljex also decides to... Yep, we're going to see Quiz 1, folks. aljex going to the Quiz 1 entrance right now. Hedwig collecting up his first energy extender. Didn't really see a lot of those in this run. Energy extenders really just allow you to use energy for longer before it has to reset, so that can be helpful over the course of a long run. Because as I mentioned, energy management is one of the main things that can be tricky in the game. So Hedwig now appears to be heading as fast as he can up to the entrance of the Icymetric Palace. If you can't guess by the name, the Icymetric Palace is a place that is entirely isometric in view. It's a pretty cool concept. It's where we find it's where we find Glitterglaze's boss. So almost certainly Hedwig will be picking up defeat 3 bosses while he's in this world, in addition to potentially 10 sub-area pages. We'll have to see which things he prioritizes. Aljex is still ahead. In case you aren't counting at home, Aljex has 9 squares and Hedwig has 7. The goal to get to is the first to 13, as there are 25 total squares and 13 is just that middle point. So Aljex will actually only need 3 more goals since he just finished quiz 1. The 2 I am guessing he will go for right away are the Moody Maze Health Extender and the Moody Maze Ghost Riders, just as they're the 2 most easily picked up by him, but we'll have to see where he chooses to go. Looks like he will do that as he's picking up this ice berry, which will allow him to open up this side of the archive. Going through Intended Way, you've seen us come through this area already a few times as in the Unintended Way, but now we'll go back through. Since he's going this way, he will actually also have to open up this Buddy Bubble switch. When Trouser was here before teaching us Buddy Bubble, he expected us to go in here, hit the switch, and then give us a natural access to the waterworks, but we like to go backwards instead. Hedwig is actually in the middle of performing a trick that we call Breeze Skip. It doesn't actually skip the boss, but you can use a spot on the wall to fly out of bounds, which then causes Breeze to basically lose all of his AI. So typically what he would do is kind of like move around on that wall, and every now and again he would shoot ice snowballs at you. Instead now you can see it's a pretty boring boss fight. He just sits in one place and takes it. The only thing that'll be slow is how quickly they can pick up fire berries. Hedwig also got good RNG that Breeze can stop anywhere on the wall that he wants to, and if he stops when he's too high up in the air, it can make some of the ending a little bit tough. As you can see, as Hedwig hits him with fire, Breeze gets slower and slower, or smaller and smaller, excuse me. And so as he gets smaller, if he starts higher up, he gets almost impossible to reach. So Aljex here probably trying to figure out which Ghost Riders he still needs to pick up in this level. He's already picked up the red one, so he'll have the other 4 to collect. It looks like he's also going to try and pick up some quills along the way to inch himself closer to 400. Looks like he's also gonna still do some more pages. My guess is that's to try and collect up to 12 pages so that he can get into Galleon. Hedwig, on the other hand, I bet you he will now start making his way back through some of this Isometric Palace so that he can pick up other sub-area pages. Aljex at 5 pages now, which means he only needs 7 more to get into Casino. Or sorry, not Casino, Galleon. And looks like he is going to elect to learn one more move. Almost certainly it will be Sonar Explosion. Sonar Explosion is basically just like a area of effect move that hurts all enemies around you. It's nice for picking up some quick pages in this level. Hedwig was still just going to be slowly getting some more pages. Looks like he's trying to work his way towards that 10 sub-area pages goal. Aljex picking up another quick pagey there in what we call the cage match. And now making his way over to the pink Ghost Rider. Or actually electing to do another pagey first. My guess is since he saw Hedwig do 3 bosses, he is assuming that Hedwig is in Glitter Glaze, and therefore Hedwig will also be kind of taking some time to do sub-area pages. So Aljex, I assume, kind of knows that he's got a little bit of time to kill, or not kill necessarily, but time where he can use to get more pages and all that. Hedwig appears to just be slowly dying. Not really sure why. He could hit that switch and get himself back to the top of the area, but instead electing for the slow way out. Aljex picking up another pagey, and then he'll go get his. So Hedwig here with a glitch I've never seen. The camera appears to have changed from an isometric view, or changed what the isometric view is. This is a first time, folks. Never seen that before. We got it in the first run of the marathon.
Now this is marathon luck.
Aljex here still about to pick up the Moody Maze health extender there. And now he'll probably go to clean up those last couple Ghost Riders that he needs. Likely just trying to remember where they are right now. Moody Maze can be a very confusing world where things kind of look the same and you're not really sure where what is. Hedwig now actually going for, he's going to have a, as we like to say in the bingo world, a built-in bathroom break. He's going to be playing a Rextro game called Glaciators, which to obtain the first page, you literally need to do nothing for about 2 minutes. So Hedwig just hoping that it'll be enough to net him out the win. Aljex, on the other hand, only needs 2 more Ghost Riders in this world before he can move on. Yellow one's hanging back over here. And then for the green one, he will actually have to perform that same out of bounds you saw before when they went for that Thorns pagey. He'll do that again to get himself back underneath. Yep, Hedwig maybe even be going to the bathroom right now. Not sure. But as you can see, he just kind of sits there while the game slowly ticks down. Aljex, though, making his way, rolling across the water into the pipe where the last Ghost Rider is hiding. As you can see, Hedwig himself showing up in Twitch chat. And there is the last Ghost Rider for Aljex. Puts him at 12 goals, which means he only needs 1 more. We'll have to see which one he goes for. I didn't see how many pages he was at. The 2 he could go for at this point, if with a 1 pagey difference in what they need, he could go for either Casino Ghost Riders or 15 Quills and 5 Worlds here. The Casino Ghost Riders requires the expansion of Casino, which costs 11 pages, and as I mentioned before, unlocking Galleon costs 12. So Aljex may decide here, just based on how many pages he has, whether he wants to waste time and get another pagey and then have a slightly slower goal, or if he's just going to elect to keep those 11 that he now has and get the Kashino Ghost Riders quickly. There, that was Hedwig's second Rextro pagey, so that'll be his 9th goal, means he's only 3 away. He's also probably very close to sub-area pages as well on his end. Hedwig actually going to get stuck here because he hasn't entered the bottom of the Isometric Palace. He may even, yep, he's going to return to hub so he can come back around the backside. But Aljex will be picking up his 12th pagey here, which will allow him to get into Galleon, which will mean our run will be ending here very shortly, probably within the next 3 minutes. It'll just take time for Aljex to get to the Galleon hub, or the Galleon tome, I should say, and then we'll be in Galleon to finish it off. Where he will need to collect just 15 quills. All right, chat. I want to see if you can count. We need 15. Looks like Hedwig is still 2 pages away if he were going to go for Galleon quills. But Aljex already in Galleon Galaxy, where he'll make quick work of this. 1, 2, 3. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. He's there. And that's it. Our winner is Aljex.
Woohoo! Congratulations to Aljex then.
Yeah, grats indeed. Great race. I was not sure how that was going to play out. Aljex kept losing some time to tricks, but Hedwig's route, I guess, just turned out to be slower.
Just a minute, we can bring in the runners in, just to have a little chat about the run if we want to, since we went a little
Definitely.
bit under. Yeah,
Definitely.
just see how they thought.
Absolutely, they want to join in. They absolutely can.
Oh, that was very heartbreaking to watch. Great race, guys. That was really fun.
GG to you all.
Yeah, it was interesting to watch both of your routes. You guys both elected for different things, and it was honestly I didn't know who was going to win because Aljex kept having some trouble with tricks. He would die in some unfortunate spots, which would give him some more time loss and other things like that. But yeah, just difference in goals. Oh, sure. Yep. Got Rampo. Mm-hmm. You also only had 5 transformation pages, by the way, when you marked 6. I in from broken slots. Yep. 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 So, if it would have mattered, I would have made a call, but it worked out fine.
Generally speaking, oh, I was just asking. Generally speaking, would you say that this board was particularly difficult compared to what you usually would do for a lockout, or?
Mm-hmm.
Enemy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it makes it a bit more unpredictable. No, I was just saying. So yeah, basically, it helps in making it a bit more unpredictable at first, at least. Because I do remember Tip Daddy was saying at the beginning, indeed, that this board wasn't a bit more open and allowed to see a bit more of the game, really.
Yep, I did my best to kind of like put a lot more. Like, it wasn't like one world was too OP or something. Like, there were some Moody Maze goals, there were some Casino goals, there were some Glitter goals. I did my best to kind of give you guys a variety of stuff. And apologies about the first board being wrong. I unveiled the board and saw equip your first tonic in Casino, and I went, oh no, what happened?
The big whoops, but it happens. And as I said at the beginning, it meant we had the hype of seeing 2 beginnings at least. So let's see it that way.
Anytime, friend. It's always great to see. Are we expecting to see the Great Escape next time? Next Bingothon?
Hedwig confirming it.
Ooh.
Hedweg will have revenge. Wherever it takes place, it will take place.
Indeed, indeed. Well, at least coming up next is Yoku's Island Express, which should be fun. Thank you very much for you 2 runners. I'm glad you were here, and it was a great start to the marathon. I think we can... I imagine, is there anything else you want to say before we transition off?
Yeah, thanks for having us. Good luck to all future runners.
Heck yeah, guys. Cool.
For a good cause, guys. Donate.
Indeed, there's so many things to do with those donations, and we'll be sure to remind you what you can with those donations later on. But yeah, thank you so much, guys, for that run. Thank you so much.
Well, hello there, everybody. That was a great Yooka run that we just had, and we're just getting set up for the next run, which is Yoku's Island Express Randomizer Blackout Bingo by JK X-Wing. I hope that's how they pronounce their name, because that's how I did. Sweet. It'll be a fun run, sure. I imagine it'll be great. They're just getting set up in the changing rooms. But for now, howdy partner, because we're going to start doing our things.
Howdy, partner. How are you doing?
Howdy partner for sure. Howdy partner, seems like we certainly have some prizes available for us.
Howdy, partner. Indeed, we do have some prizes available. So mainly, we've got a few Bingothon mugs that are provided by yours truly, the Bingothon staff, for a minimum donation of $10. You've got the entire event to donate for them, and yeah, I mean, who wouldn't want to drink a hot cup of coffee or tea or whatever you prefer, really? Again, a nice and warm Bingothon cup, because that sounds really awesome. And importantly, we've also got a download code for Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition. So it's a digital version, very important to mention, for a minimum donation of $20 that can be accumulated over multiple donations. So, you know, I'm really feeling it, you know, when it comes to this prize. And that was a very cringe-worthy attempt at doing memes, but, you know, the cringe is going towards a good cause, I dare say.
Howdy partner, I think I might have to donate myself, because that sounds very appealing.
Howdy partner, how about you could talk about where all this money will go towards?
Well, howdy partner, we're going, all this money is going towards Fred Hutch, and they are raising money in order to help fight the coronavirus. And actually, howdy partner, we have an interview with Fred Hutch later on at 7:50 p.m. on my time, in just several hours from now. Let's just make that 6 hours from now. We actually have an interview with Fred Hutch as well, talking about how they are benefiting us. For example, howdy partner, scientists and public health officials around the world are using nextstrain.org to monitor the pandemic and slow the spread of infection, because we're all about staying safe while we can host these marathons.
Howdy partner, stay safe, and chat also stay safe in these times. And howdy partner, also I think something that everyone should remember is that during this interview, the chat will be able to ask questions towards the representative of Fred Hutch will be interviewing. So if you've got any questions you'd like to ask during that moment, definitely stick around for that. Howdy partner, do you think there is anything else? Perhaps it might be worth looking at the incentives we've got coming up.
Howdy partner, certainly. I'm just looking down the list, and we certainly do have a large amount of them here. For example, howdy partner, we have the Super Mario Sunshine Skip. Only $30 needed to actually make that happen. Howdy partner, we've got some Toho Lunar Nights later on, and some donation incentives towards that. We've got Terraria further on, with some character names, the world names. In Celeste, we have character names, a bunch of things you can all donate for. And howdy partner, you can make that choice. Feel free to influence our marathon with your donations and help a cause while you're doing so.
Howdy partner, I really like choices. And in terms of other incentives that you've got that are a bit closer to right now, we've got 2 incentives coming up for Ori and the Blind Forest Definitive Edition Randomizer. Those being, first off, never pick up a sign during the run, which is currently at 1 out of $30. And the second one is Rainbow Miser, which, as far as I believe, is making Ori go with all the colors of the rainbow, which is sure to look visually stunning. And this is for $25, so I would be really happy to see that goal being fulfilled, because it would just be really stunning to see. And howdy partner, when will be freed from the curse of having to say howdy partner at the beginning of every sentence?
Howdy partner, I don't think we ever will, because we will keep going until the end of this intermission at least, because we do want to get the host blackout bingo goal. Howdy partner, we want to mark these goals throughout the whole marathon. We try to only do a few here and there, just so it doesn't overpower, and you know, we can't mark too many off. We want to give goals to the other hosts down the line, but howdy partner, we're certainly marking this one.
Howdy partner, I like it.
Howdy partner, everyone in chat. We can certainly look at the host blackout bingo board right there. Feel free to mention any goals that you think are going to be fun and excited, and you're excited for.
Howdy partner, indeed, there are so many exciting things to see. Some of them will be rather simple, but some of them will be really exciting to do. And howdy partner, what do you think will be the run that excites you the most outside of your own?
Outside of howdy partner, outside of my own. Now that's hard, but looking at the schedule, howdy partner, we do have some fun things in there, like we have a Club Penguin run, which sounds like it'll be exciting. Of course, we also, let's see here, oh, we have got Terraria in here as well, and that should be exciting as a new patch was dropped more recently, and so I'm sure a lot of people are getting into it again. And if you want to see a bingo, more specifically a single bingo pre-hard mode, then be sure to check that out. How about yourself, howdy partner? What do you think?
Well, howdy partner. Indeed, I will try to not be too biased and not say my own run. But definitely, we've got quite a few exciting runs, i.e. every single one of them. Howdy partner, I think a run I've never seen before that I really would like to see is the Subnautica one. This one is sure gonna be super interesting. Also the Minish Cap randomizer, and there's just so many of them. As you said, there's Terraria, there's also Cuphead, that's also gonna be exciting. So howdy partner, I think it might be worth reminding everyone that if they want to see the schedule, they can type !schedule in the chat, and you can see which runs will be really exciting for you, because there's bound to be something really that will be suitable for all of you. And howdy partner, I'm happy to say that we'll soon be able to be freed from the curse of the howdy partner, because I believe we can soon move on to the next run, that is Yoku's Island Express Randomizer Blackout Bingo by JKX Wing.
No, certainly. Well, heading off for now.
Alright, howdy partner, for closing off, we'll be seeing you all in the next run, and thank you very much.